Well, for some analysis, we're joined now by Jean-Yves Heurtebise, Associate Professor at Fujian Catholic University in Taipei. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Jean-Yves. So, China flexing its muscles then this morning. Is there a risk that this could lead to a further escalation of tensions, even conflict there?
Of course, the risk of escalation and of war is still possible in case of accident, even if for the moment what China aims to do is just to threaten Taiwan and not to attack Taiwan. And so China said it is answering to a provocation by Nancy Pelosi, but I think it should be reminded that the provocation comes from China in its very different way to threaten the people in the South China Sea and also scrambling everyday airplane into Taiwan air defense zone. So we can say that it is not China that is answering to a provocation, but that the trip of Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan, which is already a kind of way to react to constant pressure of Chinese authority on Taiwan.
Is this then China, Taiwan, the US playing with fire, all of the above?
Actually, it is each, I will say that China, US, and perhaps in some sense Taiwan, but they all choose the way they react. And so China decided to react this way but it is only its own a reaction on its own making. So before we have listened to Chinese foreign minister saying that it was the visit of Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan was threatening China. It's not the case at all. It is a visit that is made possible by the Taiwan Travel Act of 2018. And this visit in itself is not threatening China at all. It is happening in Taiwan, which is de facto a sovereign country with its own police and military. So the thing is that China said that Taiwan belongs to China, but the trip of Nancy Pelosi proves that wrong, since China said that Nancy Pelosi cannot go to Taiwan, and still she has been to Taiwan, which means to everyone in the world that actually China is not conquering Taiwan. And so this is why they are angry, because it is proving wrong their own narrative, but this narrative in itself is wrong. So now China is, I will say, overreacting in order to maintain the validity of its own narrative. And then, yes, there is always risk of escalation of accident.
Staying on that theme then, Jean-Yves, the president of Taiwan, she refuses to recognise that Beijing and Taipei are part of the same China, so to speak. Does she bear some responsibility for what's happening? How is all of this being viewed in Taiwan?
Well, actually, it's not the president who says that. Actually, as I say, it's a matter of fact. And actually, the notion of to who Taiwan belongs to is actually a very complex and legal issue in international rights, in terms of international law. So, as we know, Taiwan itself has never belonged to the Chinese Communist China. So, there is no way to say that the position of Taiwan is something as provocative. And his own platform is not to claim for independence, but simply for statu quo, meaning peace. And the statu quo means that there is no aggression of China towards Taiwan. And Taiwan is not declared formally independent. So Taiwan has not yet declared formally independence, but the overreaction of Beijing is now giving to Taiwan and to the US every more reasons to perhaps clarify the strategic ambiguity of US regarding Taiwan, the existence of Taiwan. So I think that Taiwan has been quite, I would say, reasonable in his way to address the crisis. And then, because China needed to react in order to satisfy its own domestic audience, who has been taught that Taiwan has always been a part of China, which is not the case at all.
OK, we'll leave it there, Jean-Yves. But thank you so much for your time with us this morning. That's Jean-Yves Heurtebise, Associate Professor at Fujian Catholic University of Taipei. Well, in other world news,